5 minute devotional. Good morning. This is Ben. I'm going to try to keep this to 5 minutes today. Thank you for watching. Today I want to start maybe a series for the rest of the week about wisdom. Wisdom is important as a Christian. It's important to us as Christ followers to be able to decipher truth from lies and what's wise from what's biblically wise versus what's wisdom in the world, and they're vastly different things. So I'm going to kick this little series off with about wisdom with the three wise men. It may seem kind of an elementary place to start, but it's a cool idea that these three guys recognize some things that people who were right there in the old neighborhood couldn't recognize. But I'm going to pick it up and we'll read, and then we'll look at it and go on. So this is Matthew 2, verse 1. Jesus was born in Bethlehem in Judea during the reign of King Herod. About that time, some wise men from the eastern lands arrived in Jerusalem, asking, "Where is the newborn King of the Jews? We saw his star as it rose, and we have come to worship him." King Herod was deeply disturbed when he heard this, as was everyone in Jerusalem. He called a meeting of the leading priests and teachers of religious law and asked, "Where is this Messiah supposed to be born?" "In Bethlehem in Judea," they said, "for this is what the prophet wrote. And you, O Bethlehem, in the land of Judea, you are not least among the ruling cities of Judah. For a ruler will come from you, who will be the shepherd of my people Israel." Then Herod called for a private meeting with these wise men, and he learned from them the time when the star first appeared. Then he told them, "Go to Bethlehem and search carefully for this child, and when you find him, come back and tell me, so that I can go and worship him too." After this interview, the wise men went their way, and the star they had seen in the east guided them to Bethlehem. It went ahead of them and stopped over the place where the child was. When they saw the star, they were filled with joy, and they entered the house and saw the child with his mother, Mary, and they bowed down and worshipped him. Then they opened their treasure chest and gave him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. When it was time to leave, they returned to their own country by another route, for God had warned them in a dream not to return to King Herod. Well, we know King Herod didn't have good intentions there. He did not want to come worship Jesus. That was a lie. He told the wise men he wanted to come and murder him. So, all right. So, what makes these three guys, the Magi, what makes them wise? There's 3 points I want to touch on about the wisdom of these guys. First of all, they recognize signs from God. You know, sometimes God's speaking to us, and sometimes there's just obvious signs that maybe we just shrug off or don't recognize. I mean, maybe not as obvious as a giant star in the sky, but God's always given us signs of where we should be headed, or what we should be doing, or what we should stop doing, and we don't recognize them. You know, that's because we don't have wisdom. These wise men recognized signs from God and followed through. They acted on them. They didn't just see them and write it down in a book or put it in their journal. They acted on the signals, signs from God. So that's the first point. Second point is they listened and obeyed. You know, God told them to go and not return the way they came. So don't tell Herod where Jesus is. And God told them in a dream, and they listened and obeyed. Now, they weren't trying to please man. If they were trying to please men, they would have ran right back to Herod and said, "Hey, King Herod, we found the baby Jesus. You can come." They didn't do that. They were more interested in pleasing God and listening to what God said rather than what man said. So that's a big one too. That's something that applies to us today. Are we more interested in pleasing men, or are we more interested in pleasing God? The wise men were more interested in pleasing God. And the last thing is, when they did find Jesus, they worshipped him and recognized him as the Lord. You know, that's something else that maybe people don't do today, is maybe they read the Bible or are curious about Jesus, but they don't recognize him as Lord. They don't worship him and put him in his rightful place as God-man, you know, God in the flesh. So those are the three things that the wise men did that made them wise. I'm sure there were other things before and after this text, but in the text we have, I'm just trying to work with the text we have. There's so much you could read about the three wise men, and in fact, they said it could have been way more than three guys. But if you're interested in that, there's a lot of things written and information written about the Magi. If you're interested, you can dig into those. But wisdom, that's the source of wisdom from God. We listen and obey, and we know who's the Lord here. So I want to leave you with that. Tell somebody about Jesus today. Love somebody recklessly. I want to invite everybody to church, Whole Life Christian Fellowship. We're located on US 12, east of Sturgis, across the street from the old Miller's building. It's currently the Medical Commons 2. We have church at 10 a.m. on Sundays. I can't wait to see you there. See you at church.